this hair was out of place. And it's just my mission now to help female movers and shakers just like you really get comfortable being in front of the camera. Okay, so I've been doing this for a long time. I've seen the value in showing up on camera for a long time. But hello, you know, pandemic hit and everything is going virtual. Everything's going on camera. And I definitely want to open it up to you guys to talk about some of your struggles so we can really make this training valuable for you and specific for you. But what I hear a lot is, you know, I feel like I'm rambling. You know, all of a sudden I was put in front of a camera and I'm used to being in front of people and I just feel like a fish out of water. Okay, so whether you are someone who's like been showing up on camera and you want to get better, or you're like, hey, you know what, I'm in a position now where I just don't have any other choice and I see that value. And because you're here in this group, you want to up level your skills. You want to skill up in a time where people can freeze and freak out. So I'm just so happy that you're here. And, you know, being on camera and being kind of that focal point is like the #1 fear in the world. People are afraid, so afraid of public speaking, so afraid of having that focus be on them. And so I get it. And it can be scary. But in order for us to provide value in our business and to grow and expand our network, we have to get better and more confident and more consistent showing up on camera. Okay, so I want you guys to type in the chat, I am ready, I am here for this, if this resonates with you. And then I want to open it up to you guys to do like 20 seconds, unmute yourself, let me know your name and kind of what you do, and then like what would be your main struggle, that main point that just kind of makes you feel icky and sticky and just like super nervous and like a beginner all over again. So that way when I'm going through these 5 principles, I can really make it specific for you. Who wants to go first? Go ahead, Amy. Unmute yourself. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm so great. How are you?
Good. I'm doing great. I'm so excited about this lesson today because I have lots of questions. I've been going live for a long time. Jana and I talked about this in our last call. I do online concerts. I'm a musician, singer, songwriter, and then also expanding a coaching business as well. The problem I'm having is finding consistency in terms of travel, like with camera setup and lighting. So how do you find consistency when you're moving from one location to the next in order to make it look the same across the board?
Cool. Got it. Perfect. Thank you for sharing that, Amy. Awesome. I'm going to take some notes while you guys are talking. Who's next? Someone step up. Let's do it.
I'll go.
Let's go. Come on. Keep it coming.
I'll go, 'cause in that way you can check me off the list. Okay. My name's Diana Mosier, and I think what I'm having problems with is I feel like I'm not really transitioning, but I'm adding. So I'm a realtor, I health and wellness advocate for sure, and I have this love for children and helping children that have been through mistreatment and traumatic experiences. So I'm kind of putting all of this together, and I just kind of feel it's like my mission to do that, to help children find their little wins and turn those into big victories and take that into all the aspects of their life. So that's kind of where I'm at, and I need to figure out how to put all that together.
Okay, so you're just like having where your struggle is like, I always say, bringing all the balloon, you know, strings together and tying them up in a knot so that way you can really up level. So you're kind of in that space where I say playing goalie. You know, you're just kind of hitting things down without any real clear goal and mission there. Okay, cool, awesome. We'll make sure we talk about that. Who's next?
I'll go. Hi,
Cool.
London. Good to see everybody again. So I'm a writing coach, and I go live. I don't go live, but I do a lot of video to talk to people because I like people to get to know me and hear my voice. And Jana's really helping me to do more of that as well. Can you talk about your editing process and maybe your intros and your outros and how you edit for not the perfect video, because I don't believe anything needs to be perfect. Like, I like people to see my quirkiness, but kind of how you go about editing to make sure you've got some good content to put out.
Cool. Perfect. Thank you. Who's next? Hi, Kimberly, go for it.
Hi. I would like help, if it's possible even, to work with, especially when it's live, when it's the kind of like unconscious things going on with the face. And I know that's really hard. So for example, when I see myself later, and again, this is not edited stuff, is that and it maybe there's nothing wrong with it. So some self-judgment here, but when I'm really focused on what the speaker is saying to me, like during an interview, for example, I notice I'll furrow my brow. It's like I'll look real serious. And then other times, maybe more, I'm very expressive. And so any ways to just kind of, any tips to just look more soft, look more calm, while still conveying an interest, a connection with the person I'm interviewing. So that's been the trickiest thing. That's really been the trickiest thing. I'll just see these parts of my face and I'm going, oh, is that what I was really trying to reflect? So something about how to be more natural, I guess that would be the question. And those are the places where I struggle.
Got it. Thank you so much. Yeah, my voice sounds weird. My face sounds weird. What am I doing with my hands? I got a claw going on. I know. I feel it. Okay, cool. Next.
Okay, so am I going or am I in the screen? I can't even tell.
Go, Lisa.
I'm there. Okay. So I think I've got two things. Number one, I have no idea what you mean by go live. So I have a full-time job where I counsel people. So it's not therapy, and I'll get to that point in a minute. So when you're saying go live, like I'm always live in person. I know you mean live on social media. So I'm not sure if you mean go live on Facebook, if you mean go live on YouTube. I'm not sure what you mean by go live and why going live is going to help me and how it's going to help me. That's my one struggle. My next struggle is, I think there's a lot of life coaches in the room, it sounds like. And so as somebody who's been in the counseling field for 25 years, dealing with really dysfunctional type situations, I'm looking to go into life coaching. So I'm not dealing with those really hard cases. So I want to make sure that I'm presenting myself in a genuine way, that as a life coach, I'm not there to provide therapy, but then there's part of me that's drawn to that is what I do naturally anyway. So those are my kind of two struggles.
Okay, cool. So going live, why should I be doing it? And then like, how do I present myself during this pivot to make sure that it's very clear the direction that you're going? Am I right? Okay, cool. Next, got a couple more.
I'll go. I know that I do a lot of educating online and I try to stay on script, but there's a lot of material to cover and I find that I kind of go over certain pieces where I kind of stumble over my words or swap out words. I'm also dyslexic, so I mean, it's natural for me to, when I'm under stress, to swap things out. So for me, I would like to find a place where I'm more comfortable behind the camera so that I feel like I can do it more often, because it's much quicker to do a video than it is to type up like a 20-page article.
Yes, totally. And I really love to start with video in terms of drawing out the content and creating, like you do blog posts, Instagram, like that's a great starting point because it webs out so much. But sometimes we make it a big production in our head and we have to set up and then all we get is one video later and it's like, so I totally get it, wanting to show up more consistently and not making it such a big deal, like being able just to line them up and knock it down and feel comfortable and confident doing that. Cool. Okay. Who's next?
Well, thank you, everybody. And this is actually my little sister that's talking, and then that's my mom up in the corner. So, and it's kind of cool. So I talk to Sis every Monday. That's our mentor time. So she's actually on one of my teams, and that's really cool. But my biggest fear is just putting yourself out there. It's a privacy issue for me, and I don't really want to be out in the bullshit. And that's what I'm going to call it. There's so much crap in this world, and people worry about so much shit that I don't want to be in it. I love being at my house and being in my little world and doing the things I love to do and helping people. My VIP clients call me on the phone. We talk on Zoom. We do stuff. And I am not that person yet. I will say that. So that's my thing. Is the big thing is fear and getting just rolling in the shit is my fear.
Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing. Let's see. Brittany, did you go? I know you're not on video, but feel free to unmute yourself. Yeah, go for it.
Hey, yeah. So I think to piggyback off of what he said too, it's like a lot of it is it's mindset, and like I'm a perfectionist. So if it's not perfect, like I don't want to like mess up on my words or like get flustered and then like brain fart or whatever. So for me, it's always more about like, it's easier for me to just record myself and then just edit everything instead of going live. So I think for me, it's more mindset and just doing it.
Cool. Thank you for sharing. Awesome. I think we went through everyone, right? Everyone went. Cool. Perfect. So thank you so much for kind of pulling back the curtain there. It's so great to have a list now of key areas that you guys want to improve on, that hey, this is an area that's, uncomfortable for me and I want to do better. So thanks for showing up and thanks for asking all of those great questions. All of them, as you can see, from lighting setup to like, I'm nervous. We have all types of feels when it comes to being on camera. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through my 5 principles to show up super comfortable on camera. I'm going to try to hit as many of these points as I'm going through the principles. And then if at any point at the end, when we're done covering them, there's some left over, I'll make sure that we go through a lot of that, including like the setup. I'll turn this around and show you my setup and kind of what that looks like. Okay. So feel free to use the chat, chime in, ask questions. I'll do my best to keep kind of my eyes over there too and make this really about you. And then, of course, I know you guys are working on video content with Jana. You guys are doing, I believe, the drip campaign, creating video content. So at the end, I'm going to let you know about an opportunity that you can have exclusively for being a client of Jana's, to work together one-on-one to get some feedback and make sure that those videos are top of the line for where you are right now. We're always going to be growing. We're always going to be becoming. And we have to just start and put stuff out there. So at the end, I'm going to put that, I'm going to let you guys know about that. But until then, make sure you're taking notes because we're going to go over a lot. And I just want to provide the most value here. So I'm going to jam pack it and then we'll be able to go over any of these other questions. So first of all, I want to start with the why. So anytime I'm doing anything, any coaching, new goal, new dream, whatever, some of you guys said you're making a pivot in your career, always start with the why. Okay, so our why for this teaching today is because we're speaking this together because I want to come out on top when things change. And getting better on camera will improve my work, my communication, my contribution, my confidence, and it truly is the way of the future. Okay, so that's our why. So maybe it's like, I already show up live to people in person, but hey, being live and showing up live on camera, you can reach people all over the world. You can make a giant impact and change people's lives. And so I get it. It might be comfortable to be live with people in person. It might be more comfortable to have the phone calls and do those types of things. But we're here for a reason. We're movers and shakers for a reason because we're not content with mediocrity. Okay, we're content. We know that success is not a spectator sport, and so we want to show up. Okay, so when it comes to why live, because social media prefers that. People get notified when we go live. It's also a place where people can connect with us and talk with us live and date us and meet us and understand what we're all about. And so when we are stepping into this video space, live is also great because, hey, you're live. You don't get to pick yourself apart later and edit it and put this stuff there. It is what it is. It's raw and it's real life and it's beautiful and people resonate with that. Okay, just to point out a few numbers, Spotify just signed Joe Rogan for $100 million for his podcast video. Okay, so platforms that are just, for having music before are now growing and having video. So showing up on camera, we're talking about live today, but showing up on camera and having that confidence and consistency and just continuing to show up there is going to be really powerful. And it's really important and it's the way of the future. So we're going to go through all of my 5, let me make sure I can see everybody here, all of my 5 points to help you show up super comfortably on camera. So that way you can just continue to show up. Like Dr. D said, I want to be more consistent. I want to continually show up. And that's what these tips are for. Okay, so we're going to go through 5 of them today. The first one, I don't know if it's backwards, but my tips are really short so you can see that it's who. Okay, know who you're talking to. It's so much easier to go live and have this conversation or start this conversation when you know who you're talking to. Okay, so maybe you know who your ideal client is. I know you work a lot with Jana on that, speaking to that person, speaking to their pain points, knowing who they are, what their struggles are, and how you can provide value. Okay, and if you don't know exactly who you're talking to and you're saying, okay, I want to make this pivot, or I want to, step out and, bring my expertise to this space, but like nobody really knows that I'm doing it yet. It's like my first time, I'm just stepping out. Then having those avatars and knowing who you're talking to is going to make you feel so much more comfortable. Okay, so it's like, the TV show, How I Met Your Mother, when Barney and Ted would go out and he'd just pass Ted off and be like, hey, have you met Ted? And then Ted's like, talking to this girl like, okay, well, it'd be much different if, Ted had 5 or 6 other points that he knew about this person and vice versa to really get into the conversation and really engage in the conversation, okay, in a way that people resonate with, where they feel like, oh, she's talking to me. It doesn't matter really what she looks like or what her setup is or all that, and we'll talk about it because there is value in it. But what's most important is that you know who you're talking to, you know who you're delivering value to, and you're speaking to them. Okay? Sometimes we don't see them on live. We don't get to see the person like we do on Zoom. So on certain situations, it's sometimes a little bit easier. I'm live right now. It's not social media live, but I know who I'm talking to, overview, because I know who Jana attracts and what her program's about. Then I ask you, hey, what's going on? Where can I help you specifically? Okay, now I know exactly who I'm talking to. Right? So you can ask those questions and have those conversations with your audience. I know Jana works a lot with, getting that conversation going on social media, whatever. Get to know exactly who you're talking to, because it'll just make you feel a lot more comfortable. Okay? And if you're speaking live to a specific audience that maybe is not your own, but it's really similar, ask, who are these people? What's their age group? What do they do? Where are they coming from? Where are they working from home, or like, what's their life like? What are their common struggles? Why are they coming to this today? And being able to really know who you're talking to. The more you can engage with your audience, the better. It makes it more organic. Exactly. Totally. Cool. So that's the first one, the who. Okay. Number 2, what? Know what you're talking about. Be confident in what you're talking about, especially when you start to go live for the first time. Okay? Choose a topic that you could easily talk about without much research, without too many notes. It's fine to take notes if you're really being, specific and you want to make sure you hit all of these points, and that's the point of the video. But when it comes to getting comfortable, choose topics from the beginning that are low-hanging fruit for you, that you could easily talk about, that you get questions about all the time, that your audience and that's what they want and what they've been asking for. And maybe you've created a blog post on it before. Cool. Talk about it on video. Not everybody saw everything that you put out, right? Hello, that was like a total news flash for me. You're like, but I already put that out. Well, if you find someone who's going to read your blog post and listen to that and watch that video, they're with you. They're not thinking you're annoying for creating, double content or whatever. They're with you as you're driving home those points of what you know. So make sure when you're starting from the beginning, or you're making that transition, that you just start talking about things that are easy to talk about, 3 to 5 minutes. You know what you're talking about. It feels comfortable. It just rolls off the tongue. And you can have a good, solid conversation with really anyone about it, right? And when you know who you're talking to, you can really make that relevant to those people. But sometimes you might be kind of trying to figure it out. So you can be like, oh, maybe, if you're struggling with motivation, maybe you're a mom and it's hard for you to stay motivated because you're just doing all the time for everybody else in your life, okay? Or maybe you're a college student and it's hard to stay motivated because you're doing online learning now and you're at home and it's hard to set aside that time because classes are back to back. Like, you can make it relevant to different people as you're kind of testing out the waters of who's kind of listening and who you're speaking to. But make sure it's a topic that you just feel great talking about, that you just feel super comfortable talking about. What? Okay, number 3, practice. Practice, right? You're gonna suck at first. You're gonna look weird at first. You're gonna have, for lack of better terms, that resting bitch face where you're like, I was interested, but like, why does my face look like I smelled something disgusting? I really was into what she was saying, right? You have to practice. You have to practice so that you can get better in those areas where you feel a little bit funky, but that way you just practice hearing your voice and getting over that it sounds weird. That you practice, you know, showing up and, you know, doing whatever it is you're doing with your hands in that particular video to make it look less awkward for you, right? Practice showing up, okay? And I have some very concrete tips and tools on how I practice, okay? So when it comes to rambling, not knowing what to say, sounding a bit monotone and going live about something really exciting, and I'm so excited about it, but you'd never know because I just cannot convey it with my voice. It happens all the time. We get nervous and it's scary. And so these are some tips that I do that to help me tremendously. And I want you guys to write, if you get anything out of this presentation, do these things, seriously. Besides the last one, which is my most favorite. But if you're gonna take anything like tangible and like start doing some homework, do this, okay? So the first one, practice reading out loud. Grab a book, grab, you know, the newspaper, grab your Bible, grab another, oh, sorry, someone's not muted here, there we go. Grab, you know, something, your daily devotional, or I have, you know, Journey to the Heart book, I don't know where it is, it has like little passages and mantras for the day. Practice speaking, use your voice. Sometimes we're on live and we get nervous and uncomfortable, and it of course it's always going to be, you're always going to have an in-person with my peeps conversational voice, but you really need to work on your public speaking voice and your on-camera voice so that you can deliver, right? So I lived in Austria for the last 6 years. I spoke to a lot of non-native English speakers 98% of the time. So what was my feedback from them all the time? Lunden, you speak so fast, can you slow down? So I had to really work at that. And what I realized is non-native English speaker or not, you know, whether you're speaking to people in your mother tongue or not, slowing things down, being really clear and concise, and using our voice as a tool to deliver our message is powerful. Okay, and it's so great to read. So I love this book. It's called Life's Golden Ticket by Brendan Burchard. And I'm just gonna, I have no page I'd planned at all. I'm just gonna pick one. Okay, this is a good page. I just picked a random chapter 19. Okay, you could read it like this. The ringmaster opened the gate and Larry and I emerged from the cage. The first person I saw was Henry. He hobbled towards Larry and embraced us both in a heartfelt hug. You did it, he cheered. Or the ringmaster opened the gate and Larry and I emerged from the cage. The first person I saw was Henry. He hobbled toward Larry and embraced us both in a heartfelt hug. You did it, he cheered. So it's so different. You can convey a whole different emotion. And not to say that when you're talking, you're one day, once upon a time, but you get used to the power of using your voice and, you know, the tone and pitch. And, you know, if you're speaking about something that, for example, so I work with a lot of, like I said, female movers and shakers, entrepreneurs who are just looking to up-level their life. I call it get their mind right, their body tight, love their life, and go from crazy busy to crazy happy. So when I talk to them, I'm like, does it feel like you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off? Like you're trying to do everything and nothing, and it's just a win if you can just get out the door, get the kids on time, not spill your coffee, have breakfast, and get on out. Would you like to slow down? Would you like to have more time for yourself? So you get to use your voice in a way, and especially when you know who you're talking to, you get to use it in a way that conveys an emotion and a feeling that they are feeling, and it's stirring up inside of them. So when you practice reading out loud, you really get used to hearing your voice. You get used to pronunciating. You get used to slowing down when you speak. Because I found that my rambleness, and I would ramble because I wouldn't be like thinking about what I was saying. It was like my mouth moved faster than like my brain. You know, and we all get in that ramble mode, and you guys talk about it kind of a lot there. So when you can really slow down and practice, that helps a lot. Reading out loud, using your voice. And I'd even record it if I were you. Use your phone to record, so then you can hear yourself. You know, raise your hand if you like heard yourself on camera before or whatever, and you're like, that's what I sound like? Like, that's like, you know, you're like, huh? Like my whole life, you know, this has been reverberating through what's going on in here into my ears. And it was some good music that I don't even know that instrument. Like, you feel like, oh, I sound so weird, right? So you need to just get comfortable listening to it. And sometimes I'm like, you know, I'm sick of listening to the sound of my own voice because I'm just relentless and trying to practice and watch and what I'm doing and making sure it resonates with everybody. But you just got to get comfortable with the sound of your voice and showing up for it. Yeah, I talk faster when I'm excited, totally. And when you're excited and you're speaking faster and your audience knows that, but when you're talking serious and it's about science, and we need to talk like the 7 different types of magnesium that you gave me an awesome graphic for the other day. Like, that's a very different conversation because we need to make sure things are understood factually versus conveying an emotion, right? So reading out loud is a great one. Another one I do is pen practice. So I put the pen in my mouth and I talk. And I say, today I'm going to talk about my 5 principles to get super comfortable on camera. It helps with pronunciation. It helps with slowing down your speech. And it helps you, you know, pronunciate the heck out of words if you have something in your mouth. So this is something I practice a lot. I'll even read with the pen in my mouth. Just these little tools and tricks that help us on a regular basis to speak with, you know, to use our voice better, to pronunciate better, to slow down, to not feel like we're rambling. And I do stuff like this every day. It's a really great one. Another one is tongue twisters. So like practice tongue twisters. She sells seashells by the seashore, you know, red leather, yellow leather. Practice all of them. Practice using your voice like an instrument, like a tool, like a muscle, right? You can do workouts for it, you know, vocal warm-ups, if you will, and making sure that you practice there. All of those tools are really, really important, right? And then, of course, like practice video. You know, maybe before you go live, you know, before you just press that button for the first time, you want to practice and do a video, right? You want to put your phone in front of you and set it up, and you want to, practice and just kind of see, you know, what does that look like and feel like for me? What's my setup look like? Does it look good on camera? You know, when I'm watching it today and watching it later, do I like it? Do I like what I said? You know, and just showing up and practicing. So that's number 3, making sure that you practice on a regular basis. Okay. If you're doing live once a week, you should be practicing like 5 other days, especially if it's from the beginning, You know, I've been making video content pretty much every single day for the last 13 years, you know, and like when I look back at the old stuff, it's just like, oh my gosh, thank the Lord that I practiced. Thank the Lord I kept showing up, because I have a message and I have a lot of value to provide, but now it's packaged way better and way more understandable and just so much more value for the person, right? So the more that we practice, the better. I've learned that I cannot wear sticky lip gloss. Seriously. Yeah, I know. I totally get it too. That's why I only use, I have mine here. I use just like a matte color, like something that's really dry and that's not gonna get sticky, or your hair is not gonna go into it, or things like that. Yeah, you can practice too the video with like what makeup you're gonna do, or what, you know, it's better that you get your sticky lips out of the way, not on a live video. But if you did, you know, full transparency, full authenticity. Hey guys, I'm gonna wipe my lip gloss off. It's way too sticky for right now. And then I'm gonna continue where we left off. I think that shows a lot of personality and power too. All right, on to the next one. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything here. Oh, and Dr. D says, yeah, on script. So when practicing, you know, I don't like to, I don't like it when I see and watch people read scripted video, unless you're super good at it and you have a lot of teleprompter practice and you actually wrote the text the way that you talk. It can actually work. But what I found is that just being more prepared with that practice and having those bullet points of exactly the points you want to hit to keep you on target, that's going to help a lot. I prefer to start that way. And I only say that because I didn't start that way. So I used to start, when I started creating content for a company called Runtastic, now they're called Adidas Runtastic. They got bought by Adidas. And I would make weekly content for them, on a regular basis, all of the time. Wait, like people when we have a stumble or odd moment because it feels more real and relatable. Yes. So, sorry, where was I going with this? Oh, with on script. So when I started, I would type it out. And then I'd have to memorize it because I don't know why. I just thought that's what you had to do. Like nobody taught me. That's what I'm here to say. Like you don't have to memorize a script. And because I'm so kind of obsessed with memorization, I still remember it. Hi, I'm Lunden Souza, your Runtastic fitness coach. Welcome to the Runtastic fitness channel on YouTube, where we'll be uploading videos weekly, like I could go through the whole thing. And because it was memorized and scripted, it looked that way. No matter how much I practiced it, it just looked that way. So is there value in having your your little elevator speech? Hi, my name is Lunden Souza. I'm an online lifestyle transformation coach. I help female movers and shakers get their mind right, body tight, and show up super confidently and consistently on camera. That's the truth. And I memorized that because it was important and it provided value to shorten it and to get it out there so I could get my message afterwards. I don't want to tell you my whole life story and get sidetracked and be like, oh, by the way, that's why I do this, right? Unless the purpose of the video is to share that story. But to have, the little bookends, if you will, to be the beginning and the end and then filling it in the middle, I would prefer if people starting from the get-go just did bullet pointed lists. And we'll talk about where you can put that so it doesn't look like you're reading a list. And sometimes you're reading a list. Sometimes I'm looking down and I'm like, okay, let me just make sure, like today, let me just make sure that like the things that you said, I'm going over. No shame in it, and I'm just telling you what I'm doing. You can see what I'm doing. It doesn't need to be so robotic, right? But sometimes if we're trying to provide value and someone doesn't need a list, then we can just have it right in front of us and kind of make sure we have that to keep us on track. So when it comes to practice staying on track too, right? But not to the point where you never end up going live because you're, freaking out about it. So practice. All right, number 4, a couple more. Eye contact. So a lot of people that I work with, they're used to either speaking to people in person or teaching workout classes in person, right? And so in public speaking, raise your hand if you've done any public speaking with people in person, have any training in public speaking. Yes, got a lot of hands. Okay, so when you're public speaking, you're looking at, that one marked person over here, the one person in front, this person over here. Like that doesn't work here, and you don't have someone making contact with the corner of my wall, my blinds, some Legos from my niece, and my computer. It's like that doesn't really give like much feedback there, and it's not valuable for that audience, right? So people say, I don't know where to look. Okay, look into the little camera. Look into the little hole. That is the eyeballs of the person, right? It's polite. And it's nice in many cultures, I know not all, to make eye contact. And so someone feels like you're listening to them. And you need to look at the little circle, not at yourself. Look at the little circle, not at yourself. That's just a really key point. I've noticed it helps us stay focused as well. Talking about doing weird things with your face. I used to have a problem where I would blink like this when I would make videos. Today we're going to talk about, and I couldn't stop. And I would get comments on YouTube like, oh, this girl holds the world record for the most times blinking her eyes in a minute. And I didn't know how to stop. But when you look at a focal point and of course I, did it time and time again and watched, videos, practiced, because I was like, the same way that you said, you felt, Kimberly, where you're looking at it and you're like, what? Like, that's my face. I could have sworn, it's like those memes on Instagram. It's like what I think I look like, what I really look like when I'm doing it. It's like, I'm not have a huge ego, but I thought I was looking better than that. So I would blink like this all the time. And so what I found is that eye contact, that focal point, looking into that circle, and I even got a little bit of help. I took a one-day course on public speaking out of the whole last 13 years, and she gave me a ton of feedback. I loved her. It was like full-on body language boot camp. But she really said, pick a focal point and pretend, like, have this feeling that something's being pulled from your eyes towards your ears. That's what she told me. And it works. You know, I'm blinking when I need to, but I'm not going over the top. And so being able to have that focal point and that kind of feeling was really, really helpful and really helped a lot. So it took a while to get used to, because I feed off the audience response. Yeah, it's just a whole new ball game. It's a whole new space. It's a whole new world. And so if it feels uncomfortable, because it should be, you know, good things come when we're stepping out in that uncomfortable space. You know, if you want to see the light at the tunnel, well, how do you get closer to the light at the tunnel? You got to keep moving. You got to keep going down the tunnel, or else you're never going to see the light from where you are. And so just continuing to show up and, you know, be in that uncomfortable, scary, darker stickiness, if you will. But the cool thing is that we're all in it together. So it's like, even if you can't see us, we're all kind of holding hands, moving in that direction to get to a space where we really feel comfortable and shining on camera. Do you find it helps to stick something next to the camera light to draw your attention? You can totally do that. And especially like a picture of someone that's either a client of yours, someone that's your friend, someone that you like, somebody that you're really speaking to. Sometimes it's nice, especially right underneath the camera circle, like on the computer, for example. You could take like a sticky note and put a friend's picture on it and just kind of stick it on there. That way you have someone to look at, right? You have someone to kind of make eye contact with. Right now it's different, you know, because I can see a lot of you guys, so it depends on the format, you know. But when I'm you know, going live or doing something where like I know people are on the other end but I can't like see them, it's nice to imagine someone that you're talking to or put a little picture there, especially if you're like, oh, I need to work on my eye contact and making sure I keep my focal point there. Then put a picture of someone you like right in that spot and look at them and talk to them. That's a great one. The unknown is always uncomfortable, yes, but that's where the money is, the magic, the honey, all of it. All of it. What is the quote? If it was easy, everybody would do it, you know? Yeah, it's available to everybody, but not everybody's gonna take the opportunity to step up like we are. They just won't. Last one. Do you. This is the most important. It's so easy to imitate somebody else. So easy. But I can speak from experience, it doesn't last long. There gets to a point where it's like you can't imitate someone else, you know. And when we're making video and we're consuming video and probably following a lot of people who kind of like do what we do, and we watch it and it's like, oh, you know, we're having a good day and we're feeling them. So like that energetic exchange is there. When you go on camera, there's a lot of similarities and you're just kind of, you know, trying to imitate someone else, do what someone else did that you liked. And I think that I know that it is the most important. And it's also the most challenging. And I can say that even though I've mastered who I'm talking to, what I'm talking about, I practice all the freaking time. I know exactly where to look, right? But in different seasons of our lives, showing up as our authentic selves, showing up, you know, as us with all of our quirks and all of our fun things that make us unique about ourselves. You know, I know sometimes Scott says he calls himself like Scotty Long Story because he likes to drag out stories, but like I love when, you know, 9 out of 10 times Scott tells a long story because it's good, you know? And then like sometimes I'm like, okay, let's have a Scotty short story, you know, like what's the gist, right? But like not, and I say this out of so much love, you know this, but it's like some people are very short and concise and to the point and they speak very like this. Some people want to weasel in a little bit of stories and draw things out. And that's what makes you you and unique. And that's what makes, you know, people keep on coming back and keep on wanting to consume content from you versus, you know, somewhere else. And there's, you know, plenty of room for us. And that's why showing up on camera is so important, you know, to your, I forget who said this. Lisa, did you say that you were transitioning into, you do a lot of live stuff in person, so you weren't, really understanding kind of why live or whatever? So it's like, it's a great opportunity to show who you are and to get to know people and have them get to know you. And, live video is awesome because people get to see you as you are in your element. It also lives, it has a higher standard on social media in terms of that algorithm. People, will get notified and all of that. But it's also like a great piece of content that lives forever. People could come back and they can watch it and they can get to know you. And as you're continuing to provide value and content, they continue to kind of be along on that journey with you. And they feel like they're with you in a time where we couldn't be, let's say physically further apart. There's so many ways to connect and kind of shine and show who you are there. So those are the 5 tips that I have there. It's all, in continuing to show up for those 5 things. Not to mention, it's a great lead generator, totally. And like when you send out your freebies and then you send out that email to someone, really getting them to know you, like my initial email is a video of me. And then I have all my social media handles get connected. You can find me here. Here's my podcast. What's up? But when someone sees that versus just getting a list of where they can find me, one time Jana said something, and actually all the time Jana says something that really resonates with me. But one time she said something about my link tree, and she's like, it doesn't look like anybody lives here. Like, you have a little icon, there's no face, like where's the colors? It's black, like it's not you, no one lives here. And so when we get to create video and put them in our nurture sequence, put them in our drip campaigns, put them online, it's like, oh, I know who lives there. I know who that, I feel like, people, the greatest compliment I've ever gotten in my life, I say to this day, I've, traveled, I've done, on-camera stuff, live events in the last, this year we haven't done any, but, we did like 19 different countries, live workout parties and big events. And what I hold dearest to my heart is not that they got a great workout, not that they had a great time, whatever, but they say, like, I feel like I already know you. Like, I've been following you for 5 years and I just like feel like I already know you. It's so weird. People say that. And I'm like, and I just tell in my head, like, even though no matter how hard it is to show up and provide value and share my story and do you, like I said, show up as me, it pays dividends because people feel like they're in with us, and when we can bring a client in and a person in that feels that way, they're with us forever because they feel like they're hanging out with us on the regular because we're showing up for them through video and providing value for them on video. Between a studio and a remote recording is most important to focus on. I don't know if I know what you're talking about, Scott. Between studio and
if I set up a studio, I could put my camera in front of my screen and I could say, okay, cool, now I can see that. But it's different when you hold something. Is sound more important? Is lighting more important? What's the differences when you do the little like quick remotes versus
so the number one question always is, how can I provide value to the audience? Okay. Are you going to provide value in the dark? No. Are you going to provide value by freaking out that you don't have the best setup with the best lighting instead of just getting in front of a natural light? Like I'll show you right now, stacking up some books and Legos and bringing my computer to me so I can deliver value when I'm at my parents' house because COVID and I came back and I'm moving my life around. So like think about those things when we're making it kind of a bigger production in our head of like setup, lighting, If you have the possibility to create a space that's consistent and works for you, go for it. If you have a place where you can set things up and things can kind of just stay there, go for it. Do I think it's critical? No. Do I think it's awesome if you can have that and provide consistency and have a space that's dedicated to video especially if it's in your home? I'm a big fan of compartmentalizing things. I don't like to kind of hodgepodge everything in home office, right? But like my audience knows that my brand is Life Like Lunden, and they're lucky if they get a video from me in the same location because I'm usually all over the place. So for me, it's like I may be coming to them from the beach. I may be coming to them from my room like I am now. I might be outside. I might be on a walk. I might have asked a friend, hey, can I use your space? I need some quiet space to record some videos and do some lives. So when it comes to that space, think about that. Do I have a space that can be dedicated where the setup's going to be easy and I can show it professionally? All I have to do is turn things on. The angle is right. I know where to stand. I know that there is, good lighting in that spot, and we'll talk about that too. Everywhere except the bathroom, right? Because then you have a lot of echo. So let's talk about, let me go through here. So we talked about going live and why. With consistency and light setup, let's hit that there. So I'm going to show you guys my setup really fast. That's me. You're lucky I'm not wearing pajama bottoms today. Usually I wear a t-shirt and pajama bottoms, but today I have a romper on. So I'm full on real life mode, but usually it's like I'll be a t-shirt and my comfies on, my slippers. I have this setup here. What's important about this setup? Natural light coming from the front. Any light coming from the front. If we get the light coming from the back, that's good for a sunset photo with your sexy silhouette, but it's not good when you're making a live video because you want to have that light on you. So get light coming from the front of you, okay? If we have too much light, this light's not very bright, but I have it on a dimmer. If I have too much light coming overhead, then I'm gonna look like a raccoon. I'm gonna have the shadows from my eyebrows, the shadows from my nose, and the shadows from my lip. Okay, so most important is that light coming from the front. Okay, I have natural light, that's what I prefer. It's free and it's easy and we get it every day. So I just prefer to do my lives and the videos that I need to here. If you're going to do things in the evening, then you might need something like a ring light or another external light that you can use, and always just having it come from the front, okay? If you're too close to a wall and you have too much light coming from the front, you'll have shadows in the back. So unless you have a sophisticated setup where you can cancel out the shadows and have lighting on both sides, then make sure you're as far away from that wall as possible. Okay, so if you want to be up against a white wall or something to make your videos, just make sure you step far enough away that if you do have some strong natural light making you glow and all the blemishes and smoothing everything out, that you just understand why that shadow might be there and how you can correct it. So I would say that that's the most important, would be like making sure that that light's there. Camera level. So you don't want to be looking up at someone when you're talking to them and going live, and you don't want to be looking down on them, right? Because sometimes we're here and we're looking, So elevate the camera so that that eye contact point meets your eye contact, right? It's going to be hard to make eye contact if you're like trying to look up and look at your notes down here. Just bring everything up to your level. Okay, and you can decide if you want to stand up or if you want to sit down, like whatever your setup looks like, whatever provides the most value there. I do a variety of video stuff. So a lot of it comes to you from like this position. You get like the top half of my body. I'm talking, I'm sharing. I'm oftentimes using like sticky notes or papers and, demonstrating different things. But then I also will teach workouts too. So for my monthly membership program or for my YouTube channel, I'll create workouts and film that. So that setup's a little bit different too. And, if you can have something consistently that shows up, that kind of works for you, great. But for me, consistency is like, maybe my brother and my niece are here and I can't go in the backyard. I got to go here, So being able to be flexible of where I need to film content and when, and then being able to plan it is also really important too. So maybe you're like, okay, I have this set up and I want to, do a live, and then I want to crush out a bunch of other video content. Having that set up there and doing a bunch in a day is totally cool too. But I'd say the two most important is lighting, making sure that it's here, right? And then elevating that level here. Now, audio is important. You want people to be able to hear your message. But sometimes we're doing a live video. I know Jana does these a lot too. When we were in Prague and doing traveling, she'll just go live like with the freaking elephants in Africa, Do we have the, the camera cable and the right audio, making sure? No, but like we're providing value by connecting with our audience and showing them, where we are and what we're doing. And maybe it's a little bit windy and you can hear a in the camera, but like, whoa, that's, my coach, I work with her and look at, she's, survive, her, Jana's story, amazing. Oh my gosh. And look at, she's traveling the world, like doing the unthinkable to her 10 years ago. And that provides value versus like, if the audio is great or not, right? So just check yourself every single time when you're kind of working things up. Okay, my goal is to provide value. not to have a freak out panic attack and, you know, shit hits the fan because, you know, this angle, provide value. That has to be the main mission, right? And that's really what's going to help you do you and show up as you every single time. Instagram or Facebook has live options for your audience. Yes. So when it comes to who you're talking to, you got to know where your audience hangs out. So in the beginning, you might be testing it out and doing lives on Facebook and Instagram and whatever. The cool thing is you can go live on Facebook from your computer, and then you can simultaneously go live from Instagram from your phone, and then you're hitting up 2 lives at the same time, right? But I know and I understand it can be overwhelming to try to provide, you know, social content on a lot of different things. Do I think it's important? Yes. But if you know where your people are hanging out and you know where your clients are and you know where they're consuming information because it's Instagram, then stay on Instagram. Do those lives, master that live, show up there, be consistent there, you know. The great thing about doing a live on, like I said, dual on Facebook and on Instagram is that then Instagram takes that for Instagram TV. You can save that there. If it goes on Facebook, you can download it from Facebook. You can upload it to YouTube. You could create, like, there's so many ways to kind of maximize that there. So I'd say, explore it all, but don't let it prevent you from executing, right? And making sure that once you figure out, hey, you know, my ideal client is way more on Facebook than they are on Snapchat. So I'm going to stop like trying to provide all this value over here when I know my ideal client and the people I could provide value for are here. So I'm going to go live there. So that would be, yeah, depends on your target audience, exactly what Dr. Dixie said. So you might just have to try and see, and you got to try for a while, not just like a day, not just a week. You know, you might need to show up consistently live on a certain platform for a month or 2 to really decide if people are into it or not. And I'd even say longer. And here's why. Here's why I say just keep showing up. I cannot tell you how many people have come to me who have said, hey, I've been watching what you've been doing for years. I've been like following you, like, you know, and you're just like, oh, thank God I didn't stop. Thank God I showed up to do those live, you know, and you see some of the residuals and kind of the repercussions of showing up consistently, not always right away. You know, it's like a garden. You plant a seed, you don't get fruit the next day. So I get it can be frustrating when you're first starting. You don't really know exactly where you want to be. Maybe you get 1 or 2 eyeballs joining and, oh my gosh, you know, that's embarrassing. Like, you know, no one's watching. Like, does that mean I suck? Get all that stuff out of there and just keep showing up consistently. Showing up consistently. Okay, let me make sure that there was anything else. We talked about intros. We talked about the face. Cool. And then one last thing that Scott mentioned was I call the whole enchilada syndrome. So we feel like we have to share everything because everybody else is always sharing everything. You don't have to. There's a lot of people out there that, you know, show up and provide value, and you never see pictures of their family, and you never see kind of what's going on in their life, maybe a little bit, but just enough. So don't feel like just because you're putting yourself out there as an expert and an influencer that you need to share all that in a bag of chips, because all that in a bag of chips and the whole enchilada is not valuable for everybody. So being able to say, okay, I can create this value and deliver it on video is very different than saying I just got to be live and just show everybody what's going on. So yes, it's hard to gauge it doing well when you don't see the results at the same time. Totally, totally. So yeah, I think we went over everything that you guys asked, ton of value, a lot of stuff, a lot of things you guys can take with you. And I want to let you guys know about the opportunity to continue to up-level your skills on camera and get the one-on-one support and guidance to really give you that feedback for your drip campaign and the videos that you're working towards with Jana. So I do what's called On Camera 101. And you basically got the live version of it today. Normally I don't do this live. I have a pre-recorded video that I'll send over with all the tips that we went over today. But today you guys get that live as part of being in Jana's group. And I wanna offer you guys the opportunity to send me all of your videos. I think you have anywhere from 3 to 5 videos that are 3 to 5 minutes long to get feedback and to get customized tricks and tips based on exactly what's bugging you at the moment, exactly what you're struggling with at the moment, okay? And so what this looks like is you guys will send me your videos and we'll do up to 2 feedback rounds of all those videos, okay? So you can make it, I'll give you feedback, you'll make it again, I can give you a second round of feedback if you need it. So that way you're really taking the time to craft videos that are gonna be in your drip sequence, that are gonna be that cash cow that you're clients coming in, they're dating you, they're learning from you. You want to have good content. You know, you want to get rid of that, you know, and the ums and the before you record that video, right? So I want to offer you guys this exclusive opportunity to get all of your videos edited and give feedback on, sorry, not edited, but get feedback on. And we will work together throughout the next 2 to 3 weeks on these videos, depending on, you know, how fast we can crank them out there. But I'd say within 2 weeks would be plenty of time to get that feedback and to re-record them. And normally I do this for $397, but because you guys are a part of Jana's group, I'm giving you guys $100 off. So for $297, you can have 2 rounds of feedback on all of your video content. We can hop on a call together, do a little strategy session together as you prepare to record them, and make sure that you have everything that you need, that you're confident with your setup. And then if it's something that you're ready to do and to jump into, then that's available for you. So I'm going to put the link in the chat right now. It is lifelikeLondon.com/on-camera101, but I'll put it here. It's on-camera-101. And yeah, that's available to you guys with the code HIM100. So Health Influencers Mastermind 100. I'll put that in there too, so that you can, you know, be rewarded for being in such a group like this and for crushing it. And really getting that feedback for all of those videos to make sure that they're pretty timeless. You know, we don't want to have to redo these because, you know, we didn't do the due diligence ahead of time to make sure that we were set up and ready to go with that solid foundation to crush it on camera. So I want to offer that to you guys. I'd love to be support. I love what Jana's doing. Everything's awesome. And I'm so thankful to be here. You guys are amazing. And yeah, I think that we went over everything. I think we went over it all.
Lunden, thank you so much. So let me just tell you guys, if I told you about Lunden and I sent you to her social media site where you saw pictures of her, how much better do you think you connected just hearing her speak to you and connecting and acting like a real human on the other side of the camera? That's how powerful video is and why it's so important that you are adding video content everywhere. And like she said before, it is evergreen, right? It's going to come back. So one of the things I'm going to have you guys do this week is, Lunden, can you do your 1 minute thing that you did real quick? That little scoop.
Oh, of myself? Who am I? Okay, so my name is Lunden Souza. I'm an online lifestyle transformation coach. I help female movers and shakers get their mind right, their body tight, and show up super confidently and consistently on camera.
Yay. So I'm going to make all of you guys do this, and we're going to do it in the beta testing group. So the Health Influencers group, I made you guys all admins in. And I want you, you're going to do a hashtag in your intro. You're not going to say it. You're just going to write it. Hashtag hello, I am. And you can put like what your introduction or wherever you want to link them to in the written part. But I want you to go live in that group. And I want you to say, hello, I am. And I want it under a minute. And I want you to introduce yourself because I want you to get really confident in doing what Lunden just did, because you're going to be so surprised how much do you use that, Lunden, when you're talking to people?
All the time.
Exactly.
And, you know, I've been in the situation where people are like, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I do, my clients are, and then it's like, you miss that window of opportunity. And I always say, like, you'll get a seat at the table, but make sure you're prepared with bringing something to the table too. And oftentimes it's just like clarity and being concise in what you do and how you serve, because you never know who you're talking to, who might be. And the Jana's a great one. Oh, I know someone. Because she listens to those things and knows who does what, so we can be connected and be that linchpin to help each other out. If we don't know what you do and you don't know what you do, then no one's going to come, right?
So you guys can follow her anywhere at Life Like Lunden, and it's LUNDON.
LUNDEN.
That's what I said, right? So yes, you can follow her on social media, see kind of like what her feel is. But remember, the most important thing I took away from this is don't copy anyone. You guys want to be your unique self, because it doesn't feel right. People feel that it's not right, even though you think you're in the moment, you got it because you're doing something that your mentor has done. I want you guys to be the mentors. I want you to stand out and shine. So go ahead and do that 1 minute intro in that group. You guys are all admins. If you accept the admin, you can go live. And just make it real quick and fun. Don't stress, because that's what that group is for, so that we can get feedback on it. So just go in and do it, and we'll all go in there and have fun with you. I'll do mine. Linda will go in and put hers in there. So we'll have an idea of what that looks like. But thank you guys so much for popping in and seeing her. I'll see us all at our scheduled times. And Lunden, Thank you so much. You guys are going to really want to take advantage of using her expertise in front of and behind the camera, because she's phenomenal. As a matter of fact, we're starting up our retreats again. I'm super excited about it, where you can come to our retreat at some beautiful location, get your hair done, your makeup done. You're learning how to be in front of the camera, and you get portfolios and video content that you leave with all of these great experts working right there with you, getting it together. So those are going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait. Thank you guys. I will see you soon. And I will be posting this. So you guys, if you didn't take enough notes, which I saw everyone doing, it'll be in the group as well.
Thank you everyone so much.
Thank you.